If you have spots in your lawn, light green, lime green spots in your lawn that look like this, or even this, if so, there's a very high likelihood that you're experiencing an outbreak of Poa Annua, otherwise known as annual bluegrass. Now in this video, I'm going to show you how to identify it and the steps that I take to eradicate it. That darker colored grass here is perennial ryegrass mostly, and that perennial ryegrass is generally lighter than Kentucky bluegrass. So this spot definitely stands out. So we already talked about the color of the grass, but a few other things that you should know. Number one, the grass does grow quite low, and the seed heads grow low and down underneath as well. Also, it tends to flatten out and look somewhat matted down as it grows. So the growing conditions for Poa, it does very well in compacted soil, it does well in wet soil, and it does well in shaded areas. This spring has been very wet. We've had rain probably every second day, and this grass has not been dry at pretty much any point this year. Seeds from Poa can sit idle in your lawn for years, and when the conditions are favorable, they will just pop up. And here's the thing, that Poa Annua, once the temperature hits 80 to 85 degrees, is going to die right out. Its seeds will still be there, and it'll be gone. And if you do nothing about it, the following year, you may have a large infestation. So before we get too far into this video, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my channel. Subscribing to my channel gives you access to this video. It gives access to all my previous videos and gives you access to all of my upcoming material. In addition, it helps me to keep the channel up and going for people like you. For my lawn, there had been a little bit of warning signs in the past, some small little spots, but that was it. When I saw it coming up last fall, I could have treated it at that time, but I was dormant seeding portions of my lawn, and I did not want to put down a pre-emergent and prevent my overseeding from being successful. With that said, I'm going to deal with it now. So the very first thing that I do in my strategy to eliminate Poa, whether it's for my property or for a client, is I mow that grass short and I bag it when I do. I don't mulch at all when I have Poa in an area. The next thing I do is I pull out my shop vac and I vacuum an area of a lawn, including about a 6-inch diameter outside of the infested area. Next, I'm going to take a handsaw, a little gyprock saw I bought Home Depot. It's a Husky brand, and I'm going to cut, as I said, 3-4 inches outside of the affected area. So now that I have that circled all around, I'm going to cut it into small little strips. I'd recommend, as you're pulling up this sod, for lack of a better word, I'd recommend throwing it directly into a wheelbarrow and not dropping it on your existing lawn. You don't want to transfer any seeds from here onto your lawn. So now I have the soil removed down to a depth that I'm comfortable with. It's a couple inches, probably about 3 actually, in the middle part, and probably 2.5 around the outside. So now I'm going to top up that hole that I've made with some topsoil. It's actually topsoil mixed with some compost. I'll add the soil. I'm going to temper that down. As I'm doing this, I'm trying to compact the soil slightly underneath so that I don't have a compaction, a reduction in the height of soil after I put down my grass seed. I'm going to take my landscaper's rake and I'm going to make sure that I'm following the grade so that the water is not pooling here or running back towards my house. With that all leveled, I'm going to seed this area, and I'm just going to seed it by hand. I've gone further the outside than I needed to, but this will help to blend the new grass with the existing grass. I'm using a Barenbrug Turf Star, which is a perennial ryegrass and regenerating perennial ryegrass mix. I'll tamper those slightly, just enough to increase my seed to soil contact. I'll add a small amount of starter fertilizer. I'll add a little bit of peat moss, just enough to cover the seeds. The peat moss will help to keep the seeds moist. It'll stop birds and animals from being able to seed the seeds and eating them. In addition, the peat moss holds an awful lot of water, which means weight. It'll help to keep the seeds in place when it's moist. Now with that seeded, I'll keep it moist until it's established. It'll probably take about 4 weeks for that to become established. I'll probably have growth in there in about 5 to 10 days max. I'll have a cut about 5 days after that. By the time I get to my third cut, that area will be established. It may seem like this project is done, but it's not. From this point forward, for the next several years, I'm going to have to put down a pre-emergent. It could be prodiamine, it could be cornmeal gluten. Whatever it is that you use as a pre-emergent, this area is going to need a pre-emergent for multiple years. And there's no reason not to continue applying a pre-emergent annually. I would do that in the spring and I would do that in the fall. Here's a quick look at that patch after just 4 days. You can see I've got some good growth coming up already. I expect that I'll be cutting this in about another 5 days. With this small section done, I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to hear your comments on this, any questions you might have, or any other way that you may handle Poa Annua. I appreciate you watching. Thank you for your time. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I'm Jeff Seaton, and this has been Jeff Seaton Lawn Care.